How's it going, everybody? My name is Trey and I am here to teach you how to start your own pet waste removal business. I made a video about a year ago describing how I started my business. Back then I was making about $1,000 per month with about 20 customers, and I just wanted to update you guys on how things have been going for me now. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to learn more about how to start your own pet waste removal business. It's a very easy business to start. Very low overhead, so definitely contact me with any questions you have if you'd like to learn more. Okay, now let's get back to learning how to start your own pet waste removal business so you can hopefully avoid making some of the same mistakes that I made. So in my past video, I told you guys that you can start this business for less than $5,000. Back then, that's a crazy amount of money. Actually, you don't need half of that to get started with this business. It's very easy to get started with less. I would say about $500 would be perfect for you to get started. That would include the materials you need, setting up a website, and also other things that you're gonna need as well, which I can teach you about later. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the mistakes that I made. At first, I just wanted to offer pretty much every service that I can offer. So when I first started, I offered daily service twice per week, weekly and bi-weekly, and also one-time services. Right now, I currently only offer weekly, twice weekly, and one-time services. I quickly realized when I would offer daily services that I would get one that was completely on the opposite side of town of all the other yards that I do each day. So I separate my yards geographically and go to the yards based on what part of town that they're in. So doing daily yards customers, it was just impossible to get it done in an efficient manner, because sometimes I would have to drive all the way across town just to get to one of the other customers. I definitely wouldn't recommend offering daily until you have a really good following, good customer base, and you hire employees that could do it. Another mistake that I made at first was not letting go of bad customers. I would typically try to offer them lower prices to try to keep them, just to keep my income rolling in. But I quickly learned that you should definitely just let some of these people go. Some of these people are definitely going to cause you stress. They're not going to pay on time. They're going to typically complain about the smallest minor little things. If you have people like that, I suggest you just let them go. Your happiness is much more important than a $50 check each month. So I would definitely advise you to let bad people go. It's not worth your time. Another mistake that I made was not having my customers pay before their first scoop. There was a couple instances where we went to service a man's yard and he didn't pay us for the services and ignored all of our calls and text messages. So we basically just worked for nothing. It's very unfortunate, but some people are gonna do that to you. It was a great lesson for me, because ever since then, I implemented the policy to where I have my customers pay for their first month of service before I come out to the yard for the first time, so I'm not losing out on any money. So I would definitely suggest, if you do start this business, to definitely implement that strategy. One of my biggest mistakes so far was hiring employees. People simply do not care about your business as much as you do. I've had 3 employees and none of them lasted more than 2 months. They were all pretty much just nightmares. When I did have employees, they would constantly call in. I would always get complaints from customers, which I never received before when I was doing the yards myself. So now I do all of the 65 yards myself and my girlfriend. We do them all. We definitely just stayed away from employees. I'm not suggesting that you should never hire employees, but definitely be careful with who you hire and make sure you really check up on them, because you'll be surprised how much people don't care as much as you do. So like I said earlier, I used to make $1,000 per month with 20 customers, and now I'm over 65 customers and make $3,300 per month or more, fluctuating depending on if I have quite a few one-time customers or not. It's definitely progressed a lot. I haven't really put much more money into it marketing wise. I just put up a new round of billboards, but they are actually not really performing that well. So you just never know with some of the advertising you choose. That's definitely another thing I can teach you about in another video, is what advertising to select, because I've wasted a ton of money on advertising that did not work at all. So I can definitely help you in avoiding some of those disasters. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions about how much money I charge my customers to clean their yards. So I typically start and I charge by the dog and how frequent that they want my services. So for weekly, for instance, if they have one dog, I charge $45 per month, and each dog they add on to that, I add another $5. So 2 dogs, $50, 3 dogs, $55. Now I also have upcharges if they want me to scoop their front and backyard. That's an additional $5, or I'll just scoop one or the other. Also, it's an additional $5 if I have to dispose of the waste myself and transport it to my own trash can. So that's another way I make a little bit more money. For my twice weekly customers, I charge $80 per month if you have 1 to 2 dogs, and $90 per month if you have 3 to 4 dogs or more. If you have more than 4, then I typically contact the customer and set up a custom quote for them. For my one-time customers, I charge $60. This is due to the yards being far worse. Most of the time, customers calling us for a one-time service is because they haven't scooped their yard in something ridiculous like 6 months or a year, and it typically takes us forever, and we have to use a ton of trash bags. So I definitely charge more for that, and I usually use that as an incentive for them to sign up for recurring services, because the recurring services is much lower for us to come out weekly, so you can keep your yard clean year-round rather than just letting it pile up and just spending a larger amount of money every once in a while. Another thing I've learned over the time is to definitely check with your customers to see how their dogs are, and to make sure that they're okay with strangers being in the yard. We've had some very close calls with a couple vicious dogs that really made us nervous and fear for our safety. There was a time where a customer told us that her dog is very aggressive and she never lets it out, but we went to her yard and the dog was let out while we were there and came and got in our faces, and we had no defense whatsoever, and we were very lucky that she just happened to be there and to call it back in. But yeah, you definitely want to be careful and double check with your customers. If they have an aggressive dog, we typically text them before and have them put that dog up and make sure that that dog does not come out while we're there, so you don't have to fear for your safety or the safety of your employees. I've also had some questions from you guys of where I dispose of the waste. I currently dispose of the waste in either my customers' bins or my own trash bins at home. I do not like that I have to do this because it still pollutes the environment by going to the dump. But there is no composting areas or composting businesses that I can take the dog waste to, or else I would do that, or I'd compost it myself, but I just simply don't know how or have the ability to do it. But if you do live in an area that takes dog waste and uses it as a compost of some kind, definitely try to go for that route, as that would be the best for the environment. So I also want to discuss something. It's been a year and a half since I've worked a regular job. And I tell you, now that I've done this pet waste removal business, I will never go back to having a regular job. I've developed skills as an entrepreneur. I'm definitely learning from everything that I've done with this business, and I plan to take it to the next level and pursue other businesses as well. I've also had a cleaning company that I was making over $600 a month with recently, but I recently shut that down. It's just not my passion. I like to put more of my effort into my scooping business, since that has actually been more successful for me, and it actually is a lower price, lower overhead, and get done much quicker. So I just decided to put my full focus into this, and it's definitely been the best decision I ever made. It's helped me grow as a man, as a person. My whole life has changed since I've done this. I can never go back to working for someone else because it's too nice, and I'm just telling you right now, if you pursue this, you can definitely find some freedom in your life and build up the confidence to do whatever else that you want to pursue. I also wanted to let you know that it doesn't matter what your background is, that you can do this business. It doesn't matter if you went to college or not. anything, where you're from, you can do this business. It's very cheap to start. I came from a single mother household. I lived in the ghetto my whole childhood. I barely had anything. Had to wear the same clothes to school every week. I mean, that's just how it was. But I really appreciate actually growing up like that, because it led me to do things like this, to overcome all the obstacles that I've been through in the past. And you can do the exact same thing. Okay, so when I first started this business, I lived in an apartment, not a bad part of town or anything. Definitely wasn't the best apartment, wasn't the worst. I mean, I definitely appreciate everything I have. But then I moved into a house which was a little bit nicer. But this business has allowed me to have an apartment that I couldn't imagine having before, especially with me where I grew up in the past. Let me just give you guys a little tour. All right. So here is my home now. As you can see, I'm not here to boast or talk about materialistic things, because I mean, this is just definitely not the most important thing, but I'm just showing you what you can have when you really put your mind to it. So I live in a very nice apartment, can pretty much afford anything I want, work very little. Some nice granite countertops here, yeah, whatever. But I mean, look at this view out here. Sorry for all my fumbling. I mean, I couldn't imagine living somewhere like this when I was a kid and where I grew up. Okay, thank you everybody for watching. That's pretty much all I have. I hope I answered some of your questions and can help you out a little bit more. I do still offer my training. If you'd like a shortcut and a much easier path and to avoiding all the same mistakes and the struggles of starting up, I would definitely recommend my training. I already discussed it in the last video, so I'm not going to discuss that again, but just contact me if you have any more questions, and I hope you guys have a great day, and see you later.